And we are live. Welcome back to another episode of the Consistency Conversation. And back with us again today is two-time author Nick. Nick, what's going on, man? How are you?
I'm doing good. I like the two-time thing.
Yeah, two-time author, man. Yeah, I'm glad to have you back, man.
Yeah, good. Thank you. Nice to be back. Yeah, it's great.
So how have you been since the first book and since the last time we had a conversation?
Yeah, doing good. Doing good. Been very busy. But I think last time I spoke, was I married when I spoke to you last time?
Nope, you wasn't married then.
I wasn't married, so I've got married.
Yeah. Congratulations.
Thank you, sir. And we've been on. Yeah, we have been. It's been good. We've been on quite a lot of breaks, which is really nice. Just got back from the States, so from your home, and which was amazing. Went to Texas and Miami, and now just got to get back into the swing of things really, because we got back and we're like, right, we've got to start.
Yeah, and you went to WrestleMania, so hopefully, hopefully once we get done talking all this fitness stuff, man, we can talk about some WrestleMania stuff too. Because we also have a couple of warriors of my Consistency Warriors that are big wrestling fans as well.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, man, it's good stuff, man. So the first book, Total Fitness After 40, was really good. I enjoyed reading that one, but when it came to the second book, I actually got it on audiobook.
Yeah, you got code.
Yeah, and I really enjoyed it, man. I read it I actually didn't read it. I listened to it within 2 days in the morning doing my miles and stuff like that, and I really enjoyed it. The book is called Breaking Bad Eating Habits. Really good book. I suggest anybody who has the time, actually, even if you don't have the time, make time to go out there, pick up this book. You can find it on Amazon. I will put the link in the description so you can go and check it out and hopefully pick up this book. So, man, tell us a little bit about the book.
Right. Well, in the first book, Total Fitness After 40, there was, as you remember, there's 7 foundations.
Mm-hmm.
One of them being nutrition. And obviously, look, you can't sum up nutrition in one chapter. You can't sum up most of those things in one chapter, but that was the point of the book, was to give you these things to do, and and you can delve deeper in as you go along. And I thought, well, obviously nutrition is probably that, and I'd say strength are the 2 out of the 7 that I think definitely could do with their own book in itself. And I thought I'd do nutrition first because it's something that we all do. Not everyone works out, but everyone.
Everyone eats.
Everyone eats. And I thought, well, let's just get this done now, because I thought it'd be a nice little sequel to that book and just take a bit of a deeper delve. So if people ever say to me, well, you only did 1 chapter on it, I'll be like, well, yeah, but you can go and buy there's 47,000 words or something like that for the new book. And it's not just about, it is about nutrition, obviously. As you know, the last 2 or 3 chapters are predominantly to do with specific nutrition. Just go through the facts, macro, micronutrients, and meal suggestions, tips, etc. But what really I wanted to do actually was delve a bit more into the why. So why do we eat what we eat? Apart from that fact, obviously it tastes good.
Mm-hmm.
But where's it come from? And we weren't doing this in the 1930s, 40s. It is obviously to do with modern society, and the reason why everyone's got so much bigger, particularly sort of agricultural policy, particularly in the States. So I wanted to go back and look at I maybe have talked about it a bit too much, maybe, but even pre-birth is so important. But then if let's say you're someone reading the book who's, expecting, you're going to have a kid soon, you want to try to start a family, it's quite important to look at that and think, okay, well, what can I do better to, make sure my baby's healthy? We know now that you don't drink and you don't smoke, but we didn't always know that.
Yeah.
And people
I think
yeah. Sorry,
I don't know if you get ready to go there, but I enjoyed the chapter when you start talking about, some of the things that we do as parents and how, what we feed our children, is huge influence.
That's the real one. The pre-birth thing is one thing. I don't think, just because you have a few too many McDonald's is when you're pregnant that your baby's going to be born a McDonald's addict,
Yeah.
But at the same time, your baby is being fed those nutrients. So you do need to think about, right, what am I putting in my body? You know, you want to be as healthy as you can. Of course, you're going to treat yourself. That's life, and that you should treat yourself. I've always gone on that philosophy, because if you feel like you can never treat yourself, then that thing has control of you.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, so unless it's a really serious issue, you should be able to, you know, do you want to have the odd Mackie D's or the odd, you know, cake, whatever it is, you know, why not?
Yeah.
But yes, I think you probably, well, I would imagine you probably agree with this. Parental and societal influence is probably the most fundamental reason why we end up in the state we're in terms of
I think those are two. I think education is a big one too, and that's, you know, which goes back to your book. You know what I mean? You've created education. You created a way for people to gather information to make themselves more informed and more aware about the ways or some different things surrounding nutrition overall as a whole.
Yeah, I mean, there are books out there that are just solely on nutrition. So there's no like psychological aspect to it. It's just like, bam, here's your nutrition. And they'll be longer in terms of what I've done. I wanted to kind of focus more on the psychological, but then I thought at the end, well, okay, you've done this and you've kind of gone through these techniques, but at the end of the day, okay, well, what do I actually eat now? So you need to actually have that in there. Otherwise, you're just kind of saying, here you go, you know, you're giving them all this kind of help, and then you kind of just letting them fly, but with like, where am I going? So I'd actually say the toughest bit about the book is obviously the middle of the book, because you start off the book and you are like, you know, there are some home truths in there, but at the same time, you have to be strong enough to take that. You know, we all have it. We all have those home truths we've got to look at. And if you can't even look at that and without, oh my God, I can't read this anymore because I can't bear to, you know, then there are obviously some probably bigger issues there, I'd say, which go beyond my book. But for most people, you should be able to look at it and take from it. But you do get to that point in the book where you've looked at the history of why. You kind of start to feel quite good. Okay, well, this is why. And you're feeling like, okay, I get a good understanding. And then you get to the mindset. And that's when I think the roadblock will probably hit a lot of people, because you can read it, you can feel good about it, but then can you do it? And that's not like me saying that from a pedestal. That's me saying it from I am one of everyone else. It's the same for me. I am no saint at all when it comes to my diet.
Yeah.
You know, I'm good with my nutrients. Like, I make sure I eat well, but what me and my wife like are the extras. So
yeah,
you had all this stuff. You know, we're having a roast dinner tonight, and there's gonna lots of vegetables, loads of vegetables. But obviously, you know, we're not actually going too bad. But there will be, you know, probably some. Do you know what Yorkshire puddings are?
Yorkshire pudding. I've heard of them. Oh,
They're
just FYI for anybody who's watching, Nick is actually in the UK, so
I'm in the UK.
If you,
I'm Australian, but no.
Yeah. So if you pick up the accent, or if you understand, or you may not understand certain words or anything, that's exactly why. So
that's it. Like if I say I'm going to have a bath.
A BATH?
You BATH, yeah, we pronounce it bath, not bath.
Bath.
You go bath, yeah. But
I'm from the South. I'll probably say mine with an F sounding at the end. I ain't gonna take a bath.
Bath. Yeah.
My southern twang, probably.
Oh, it's great, yeah. Well, up north in England, they say bath as well. I'm gonna have a bath. So it's actually mostly just kind of like southern England that say bath, and generally kind of like middle class, like London-y, those kind of areas. Because even if you go really down south, they kind of say a lot of them say bath as well.
So with this book, what made you, not necessarily what made you, what are some of the things that you want people to take away from reading the book?
I think number one is don't be afraid to look at yourself in the mirror, and that's literally but mostly metaphorically. Don't be afraid, because there comes a point, if you're going to read the book, you're reading it for a reason. You're not reading it just to read it and then put it down and then never do anything about it, and then go on Amazon and go, "Oh, this book's awful because it didn't work for me." It's like, yeah, well, okay,
Mm-hmm.
well, it's not. Unfortunately, it's only going to work for you if you do it. I can't fix it
Yeah.
for you. I can tell you what the issues are, and I can tell you some good techniques that I found are really good, and that the general industry. I mean, mindfulness is not something I've come up with. Obviously, it's been around for
Forever.
hundreds
Yeah.
of forever. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
exactly. And there are other books on it as well. So I think that what I'd take out is, don't be afraid to look at, and don't be afraid, and also don't worry if you don't get it straight away. This could take a while. It could take months, might take years, because
Mm-hmm.
it all comes down to that word again, doesn't it? Which consistency.
Yeah.
That's it.
Absolutely.
It's
And
consistent,
mindset.
and you
You
will.
know, and I think that was a great point you said, as far as when it comes to mindset, because if you've been doing something, say if you're 30 years old, if you've been doing something for 30 years, or say since high school for the last 12 years, or actually your whole life, you've never worked out, you've never been successful at dieting or whatever like this. Like, it's not, most people are not just going to change overnight. Like, mind shift and mind change takes a lot of different information, and most people don't get it the first time.
No,
Yeah.
and that's okay. That's the main
Yeah,
thing. That's
absolutely.
okay. As long as you feel that when you've read my book or any book, that you feel that someone's made it clear,
Hmm.
they've made it easy enough to read, they've given you the information that if you think, right, if I can get this right, then it's going to help me. And even if it doesn't fix it, but it helps, it's a
Hmm.
next step, isn't it? You
Yeah.
know, because you can always delve deeper into anything, and some people really need to delve deep into it. The book, one thing the book is not for, so if anyone is listening who has really big dietary issues,
Hmm.
um, and any sort of disorders, it's the book's not really about disorders, because it's more for the general population. I mean, there is
Hmm.
stuff in there that will help people maybe for that, but it's not really. I would say go and see a professional
Hmm.
if you're in that situation. So I would never tell people not to buy my book, but if you've
Yeah.
got a really serious disorder and you're
Mhm.
really struggling with that, then this is a book for the general population.
Yeah. But it's still, even so, even the information in there, you can still read the book, and even if you don't want to apply it to yourself, it's still great information that you could give or share with someone else. Like,
Yeah.
the whole chapter that you talked about, like I said, that's the one that really stuck out to me, was about parenting and what we choose to feed our children. Even if I may not be the parent who believes in eating healthy, I may want to raise my children to eat that way. So still feel like, even if someone has a disability or something like that, I still feel like they could still, grab the book, read it, learn the information, or take some of the information from there and then pass it along to the next person.
Exactly. I mean, and, whoever reads it, unless if you've obviously done all this research yourself anyway, and you've looked into this, and you're someone who's read 10 different books on eating habits,
Hmm.
you'll still probably find something in there that will be new to you. In
Yeah.
terms of, definitely in terms of the ideas for the recipe ideas and the tips and things like that, you'll definitely find something there
Yeah.
for you. And going back to, as you said, with the parental stuff, but yeah, I mean, it's definitely. I'm confident with the book. I do feel that it's actually, you said you preferred it to the first one if you had to
Yeah.
choose, and I
Yeah.
think even though I love the first one, but this one is just one specific thing rather than
Yeah.
seven. So you do get a lot more of an in-depth look into it.
Yeah.
The whole book is based on those eating habits, and then your nutrition as well. So
It was
it's
very informative.
yeah, it's definitely got a lot of information in that will help the vast majority of people.
Hmm. Yeah, I was looking forward to it the next day. I was like, oh man, I finally got the book, got to put it in on audio and everything, got to do my running and stuff like that. And I
You like
was
the
like, man,
cover
that's
with
some good
the?
stuff. Huh?
Did you like the cover with the chocolate bar being snapped?
Yeah, that was cool too. Like almost looked like a Kit Kat bar.
Well, yes, yeah. And they said, "Oh, don't get sued." I was like, "Well, if I get sued, that's great, because it means I must be doing something right.
Yeah, that mean they know who you are.
At least they know who I am."
Yeah.
But I even said, I don't know if you remember, I even said, like, we're talking about eye hunger.
Mm-hmm.
10 different types of hunger. And
Mm-hmm.
by the way, there are different. There are you can debate this about how many types of hunger there are, but 10 seems to be quite a kind of rational, fair
Yeah.
number. But with eye hunger, I even say like even the cover of this book, I bet it made you want a chocolate bar.
Yeah, like when just
You
looking
know,
at, like, I'm looking at it right now and I just see it. I'm just like,
yep,
man,
yeah,
yeah. Especially if you, I mean, you look at the book, you're like, oh man, like you said, you want some chocolate. So kind of, but I guess there's some good chocolate out there. But actually, everything in moderation at the end of the day. You can have a Kit Kat.
everything in moderation, and there's
Yeah.
plenty of good chocolate out there. We're just gonna make sure we have it,
Yeah.
when the time is right.
Hmm. So how do you feel being a two-time author, um, and being able to give back more information? Do you feel like that your book is making a difference and having an impact on people in your network, or the people who may read the book?
Yeah, good question. It's always the way, isn't it? 90% of people don't say anything. Then you get, luckily, very small
Hmm.
percentage of people who say negative. To be honest, actually, so far, touch wood. I mean, I haven't checked my reviews today if I've had any more reviews up. No one so far has given it a bad review yet, which is nice. I'm
Yeah.
sure that will happen because it always will.
Yeah.
I got a 1-star review for Total Fitness After 40 because Amazon sent it to them and the printing was upside down.
Yeah.
So that reflects badly on me, but it's not. Amazon printed it. So
I
you do get
see
good
that.
stuff. I hate that. I hate
I
that stuff.
see that all the time. Like because I'm an Amazon guy, so I look at
Mm.
reviews and stuff like that before I buy, especially if I buy something big, a major purchase or something.
Yeah.
And I see people do the same stuff. It's like, well, it came broke, so I gave it a 1 star. Where I'm like, it wasn't the person selling. It was Amazon, or it was the shipping, or it was somebody else. But
Yeah.
people fault the wrong people.
Well,
But
also, unless pardon the expression, but unless you're an idiot,
yeah,
you're gonna say to Amazon, "Can I have a replacement, please?" And they send it to
it,
you, and then you
yeah,
go, well, "Amazon sent me the replacement. I read the content." Then if you're like, "I didn't like it," then fine. That's is
yeah.
what it is. I can't please everyone,
Mhm.
and there
Yeah.
are a few people who didn't like my first book, and that's cool because that's it's like
Yeah.
anything on any book or anything's
Mhm.
gonna get something negative about it, which is
Mhm.
fine. I mean, but yeah, I was a bit annoyed about that because that was a verified purchase that goes on every single market in the world.
Mhm.
But most people will read that and be like, well, you're not judging the content, so
Yeah, absolutely.
it won't
Yeah. I don't
affect people buying the book. It's just annoying.
yeah, I agree.
Um, so
I
yeah,
agree.
but yeah. Oh, hang on, what were we saying before? Might have to
Uh,
edit this.
I don't know. I don't know what I was saying. But hey, Matt, I know you probably always probably working on something else right now. Is there going to be a trifecta or
Well,
a
we're going to be a
trequel? I don't
three-time,
know.
three-time.
Yeah. Are you going? I'm looking. Are you going to be a three-time
Yeah.
published
Well,
author?
I can't wait till if you remember your wrestling history of five-time,
Yeah, Booker
five-time.
T.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'll do a Nickaroony when I'm a five-time author.
a
Um,
Nickaroony. Oh, you took the spinneroonie and made the Nickaroony.
Nickaroony, yeah.
I like
But
that.
yes. There's going to be my bundle's coming out in about a week, which is essentially just the 2-in-1.
Mhm.
So if you're listening to this and you haven't read either of my books and you think, oh, I might like Total Fitness After 40 because I'm over 40, and then you are interested in this book, the Breaking Bad Eating Habits, the bundle's going to be called Total Fitness and Nutrition After 40, and that will be both books, and it'll be priced at roughly the equivalent of like a book and a half. So if I think I think each book is about $15-16 each, so that'll be like something like $20-25 between that, depending on. So you can get the 2-for-1 in about a week or so, and then I'm working on my next book. Now, the next book, I do not know what that book is. I know it's obviously on fitness, but it depends on two things. It depends on there's a list of things I want to do it on, but then there's also I've got to look at the market and look at what the market wants, because you want to release books that are profitable.
Mhm.
They're going to be profitable, and you need to make sure there's enough demand but not too much competition.
Yeah, because you
So,
said that with the first book, Total Fitness After 40, people were asking about the nutrition part, and so you kind of expanded on a little bit more just the nutrition part. You think you're gonna maybe pull something similar, out of maybe Breaking Bad eating habits, and maybe expound on that a little bit more?
Well, I mean, definitely one I do want to actually do. Whether I do it third book, fourth book, or it could be my 5 time book.
Mm,
I want to do one on strength training.
mm,
So then that will elaborate more on one of the, because I think that does need more. And there are, obviously there's books out there, but for example, I'll probably end up calling that total strength training.
yeah,
Either
I like
after
that.
40 or just total strength training. Depending on what, like I said, it depends if I target it for the over 40s or if it's more, for a different demographic.
They
But that's
heard it
what I'm
here
focusing on at
first.
the moment. Doing my
You heard it
research.
here first, folks.
You heard it here. Yeah,
There you go.
spoiler alert.
I
Um,
would definitely be interested in that. I do a lot of different things, burpees, running, all different types, but um, I'm not into the lifting weights as much as I used to be. Actually, I don't lift that much at all, but I would like to increase some of my strength and stuff like that. I know there's a lot of different things out there, but that would be something that I'd be definitely interested in,
yeah,
especially
and
at
you're
our
going to do all
age,
sorts of
because I'm 46 now, and I'm about to be
You don't
50.
look it, man.
Yeah. Whew, it's the lighting.
Yeah.
I seen a meme that said lighting was makeup for men.
Okay.
I was
Whoa.
like, I'm okay with that.
Well,
So,
lighting, I need to get better lighting in here for
yeah.
me than the old.
No, you good. You just got married. You 40 years old and you got married. So like you must be doing
Yeah.
something right.
Yeah, do so. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Going back to the strength training though, I'll just
Yeah.
adjust my camera. Hang on, let me just give me one
Okay.
second. Because you've heard of these things, right? Um, you have TRX.
Yep. Yo, TRX straps, absolutely.
Yeah, so this is the great thing about it. If you're doing, say, let's say you're doing a back exercise, you got a little live demo.
Yeah, let's do it.
The further forward you go, the harder it is, right? So if you're
Mhm.
here and you do it, that's not very difficult at all.
Yeah.
But the thing is, that's for me, but then not everyone can lift their own body weight like I can or you can. So this is the great thing about TRX. You can just adjust it. Now I want to make it more difficult. I come further forward. Now I've got much more resistance to work with of my own body weight. So the TRX, body weight training is great. And if you are someone who's afraid of the gym, or say afraid of the gym, it's not comfortable in the gym, or someone who just either doesn't have the budget for it, or doesn't have a gym nearby, or it's just not convenient, get a TRX, because the TRX means you can just work your body and you can adjust that resistance to make it safe, rather than just lifting your body weight and with terrible form.
Yeah.
Pull-ups being the best example. Not many people can do pull-ups, but
Yeah.
you can do pull-ups on the TRX with your feet on the floor, and you just use your legs as essentially your spot.
Man, I like pull-ups.
I like pull-ups. Yeah, pull-ups are great.
I love pull-ups, man. I always have like just something. I think because I think one thing may be because a lot of people can't do them, and there was something that being a smaller guy, I'm only 5'7", 5'6",
Right.
5'7", and I was never able to do, and a lot like a lot of other big kids and stuff like this, man. But being a younger guy, I was always out more than I was able to outdo. Well, I was able to do more push-ups or more pull-ups than most people. So it
Yeah,
always kind of
nice.
worked in my favor. When we went to the gym and we had like fitness competitions and stuff, I was always, one of the more athletic guys who could be able to do a lot of push-ups, sit-ups, all those different things like that. Those body weight exercises.
Brilliant. Oh, good man. Good man. Yeah.
Yeah.
The one thing that really used to get me into pull-ups as well, or get me motivated. Remember Rocky 3 with Clubber Lang when he's doing those pull-ups?
Yeah.
And he's like
Yep.
screaming, making those noises. I'm like, yeah,
Yes.
hardcore.
Yeah.
But he can really, obviously, he's really doing them as well. So he's killing those wide grip pull-ups.
Yeah. It's not like it's a body double over there.
No, not
He
with
was
those.
ripped, man. He was shredded in those movies, man. Especially in Rocky 4 with the Russian. Oh my goodness.
Oh my god. Yeah.
Shredded. He had a bunch of good workouts. Always loved the training scenes. Those were probably some of the best scenes of the movies. I probably enjoyed the workout scenes more than any other parts of the movie.
Me too. Yeah, the montages, man. Yeah.
Yeah.
I
And
love
then
it
the
when
music.
Oh, the music's great. I mean, Rocky 4 obviously is a bit of it leaves the traditional Rocky music and it kind of goes to all the 80s stuff, which is fine. Yeah, for one film, it's absolutely fine. But the exercise he does actually on, when he's doing those dragons, you know what dragons are?
That's the one where he's on his back?
He's on his back and he's lowering his whole body down, but his
Yeah,
shoulder blades
yeah.
are on the ground, but everything else. And that's what really got me into doing dragons, because they're so good. And they also look quite impressive. So if you're like kind of, in the mood to show off a bit. But if you can do them right, you've got to tuck your pelvis under. You've got to make sure that you do a posterior pelvic tilt so you don't end up hyperextending the lower back. Obviously, engaging your core, so you've got the core and your glutes, engaged with that tilt. And make sure your arms are in a decent position. If you kind of got them here, you're shrugged up, so you want to make sure you've got some space. If you can do those and practice those, you can practice them with eccentrics. So Rocky, if anyone's seen Rocky 4, if they haven't, you can see the scene when he's doing them. What you can do is you can just kick yourself up in the air, so you get the boost. So you bend the knees, kick up, and then just lower yourself down for a few seconds. Work on that eccentric, and you build the strength up that way, rather than feeling like you've got to do a whole one first.
Yeah. Kind of like muscle ups. You got to kind of work into it.
Kind of like that, yeah. In terms of the kick up, using the momentum to get yourself up. A muscle up's got. I've still have not yet to do a muscle up. I've never really practiced them. So I need to give them a go. I've never done it. To be fair, I think I've never really actually gone right. I'm going to practice muscle ups and do them. So maybe actually my 2022 goal to do a muscle up.
Do it, man. Like when in 2014, I was in Korea. I was stationed in Korea, and I had a soldier, and he was doing muscle ups, and he was like, "Man, you could do a muscle." I could never do a muscle up. I didn't do my first muscle up until probably 2019. Right. So I was probably about 43 years old.
Right.
And like my shoulders are jacked up. And then even after I first learned how to do it, I thought I was all hot, hot stuff, right? So I went and did them over on the rings at CrossFit. That was the worst. That was one of the worst mistakes of my life. I wasn't ready yet. And I ended up like not tearing anything or ripping anything, but I ended up really straining my shoulder. And I wasn't able to do anything, with my shoulder and stuff for like 3 months. So, but I'm back doing them now. I just don't really do them. The only time I really do them now is just to show off for the young kids. They can't do them.
Exactly. They're showing off exercise.
Yeah, they're all faster and younger, and all 6-pack up. They ain't did nothing, and they ain't earned it yet. Just genetics and puberty. So. I like to be able to do a little bit, like have a little bit of upper hand against some of them sometimes.
Oh God, yeah, no, definitely. Yeah. You got to get in there. You got to make sure you got to leave your mark on them. No, muscle ups are great. I'll have to get on that.
Yeah, man. So I know you got this is going to be a little shorter one than what we normally do, but just because we both got things we got to take care of. But man, I definitely want to pick your brain and see if there are any final thoughts or anything else like that you want to leave us with before you roll out.
Sure. I mean, well, I think number one is so let's put it this way. There's 3 stages in the book, right? 3 crucial steps, as it were, as it says on the cover. So, step number 1, look, don't be try not to be too sort of, anxious about going back and looking at the why, because the why is so important. The good thing is as well, a lot of it, it kind of also passes the blame off you a bit. You're like, oh, hang on a minute. This isn't my fault. This is my parents' fault. This is society's fault. This is, this is the media's fault, but you're only human, and we've been getting told things are healthy for us that aren't for years. And we're getting better. We're getting so much better now. We're getting so much better. And there's actually, I've noticed so many more coffee shops and places called cafes popping up, which you've got these like really nice grain bowls and salad bowls, and things are getting better. But yeah, don't be afraid to go back look at the why, and just confront it. Now, when it comes to the techniques, you obviously have to tweak those techniques for your lifestyle and your habits, but do take them in and do accept the fact this isn't going to just happen straight away. You might get lucky because you might be someone who's just, you might be quite strong-willed, but you think you're actually very weak-willed because you have the old candy bar. But then you might go, okay, well now I've done that now. I don't need to really worry about it, and you might be fine. So yeah, time, you're gonna have to give it some patience and give it some time. And then with the last chapters, just get those, take, for example, like I was talking about the food rainbow and about different colors of the vegetables. Just try and start adding in those into your diet. So try and think about color and think, right, well, you want some green veg, some red veg, some white veg, and start thinking about, during, you can't expect it for every meal, obviously, but in your weekly, shop and routine, add that color in to your diet and really, start experimenting with those vegetables. And if you're not a big vegetable person, there are things you can do to them. Okay, they won't be quite as healthy to start off with, but you can, pan fry broccoli, which is a bit nicer, and okay, it's got oils in and stuff, but you can add flavor into these things. It doesn't have to just be straight steamed vegetables. There's so many things you can do to get that nutrition in. So even if you find the habits hard to break in terms of the bad habits, as in like, well, God, I still had an ice cream, I still had a chocolate, just try and make sure your meals are better. If there's nothing else you can do yet, you can't stop the bad stuff, just make sure you get the good stuff in too. And then you can use that as a kind of foundation, because the more you get the good stuff in, the more you get used to it, the more you enjoy it, and then you'll realize, hang on a minute, actually, no, I don't really need that extra thing afterwards. And over time, hopefully that will work for you. And if it doesn't, then but look, there's no point being negative. It will.
Yeah.
So everyone out there, it will
if you work it.
You can smash it, honestly.
Yeah.
Anyone can do this stuff, and it's a question of just not feeling guilty anymore and not letting it control you, and accepting in life that you can treat yourself, but just knowing when to do it. So my book tells you to cut nothing out in total. It's not like zero this, zero that. It's just about that ratio of, even if it's like an 80-20, 80% good, 20% bad ratio, that's still pretty good.
Yeah. You mentioned getting better. We are getting better. And I think that's one thing that comes along with your book is, we've been fed a lot of different things, like you said, our entire life, from social media, from TV, from our parents, from everything. You know what I mean? Everybody, you walk down the aisles and there's information saying, oh, well, it's 20% or 5% less fat, but you know what I mean? There's 1,000 grams of fat. So 5% less, you know what I mean? Yes, it's less fat, but it's still a whole bunch of fat, So that's why I think, books like yours is very important in helping educate people, especially when you tapping into the mindset piece, because everything comes back to fitness, and you have to be consistent. But if you don't have that mindset, and if you don't have the information that helps stimulate the change or the adjustment in the mindset, then it's very seldom that people end up flourishing or being accomplished at their goals.
Exactly. And funny you mentioned yogurt, because like your body needs fats, because fats they transport your nutrients, and then they're essential anyway for energy. And if you do have a lower carb diet, not a no carb diet, you can if you want, but I not for me personally, a low carb is good. But you want those fats. But with the yogurt thing, it's not, because I tend to have like more fat in the yogurt than fat free, because generally when it's a fat free yogurt, they put loads of sugar in it. So what would you rather, the natural fat from it or the imported sugar, refined sugar? So it's good to have to try and get some yogurt that has less fat in it, but I like full fat, and I think it's fine if you've got a good diet. But look at the labels, and that's something that people need to do actually, because I'm glad you brought that up about the fat. Look at the labels, because we don't do it enough.
Yeah,
you'll realize when you look at fat free, it's got less fat, but it's got more sugar.
You're paying for it almost like you're paying for it somewhere else.
Yes. And but look at like Coke Zero. It's like it's just got zero everything, but those sweeteners, that aspartame is not going to be good for you.
Yeah, and I can't eat that stuff. It is disgusting. But hey, man, we got a couple minutes left. Before we do, man, let's sneak in some WWE stuff. So Nick actually went to WrestleMania this year, man. So I know we talked about it before. What's that?
You right. You got me excited now. Hang on. Carry on. Sorry. What were you going to say?
Oh, I said so. Let's do it like this. So let's keep it fitness. Who has? Let's do this. It's gonna
Yeah.
take a little bit to think about it because I'm gonna do it too.
Sure.
The
Sure. Sure.
top 3, top 4. You know what? Top 5. At least top 5 best bodies in WWE history of all time.
God. Okay. Well, I mean, we got. Are we
This is
counting steroids here?
now, yeah, you can add in the steroids. It's whatever by whatever metrics you wanna pick up. They don't have to be
Oh.
super studied. They could be more whatever. I'm gonna definitely say one, and that's one of my favorites. Right off the top is Ravishing Rick Rude.
Oh yeah.
But after that, I'm gonna let you go do your 5, and then I'll be thinking about mine right now.
Okay, well, look, I mean, I'm not talking about as in terms of subject who was my favorite wrestlers, because if you said who's my favorite actual wrestler, it'd be Bret Hart. In terms of
Okay.
wrestling, Bret Hart, and obviously Kurt Angle, probably Daniel Bryan in lots of ways. Shawn
Daniel
Michaels.
Bryan?
In terms of actual wrestling, just pure in the ring. And I hate to say the word as well, but Benoit. I mean, he was great. He was amazing.
Yeah, I was a huge Chris Benoit fan.
No matter what happened with him, he still he can't discount his craft. But okay, so bodies, John Cena, he's kept the consistent body for the entire time. And do I think he's on steroids? I would say no, because he's had exactly the same body shape for 20 years. He hasn't fluctuated. Whether it's steroids, they tend to fluctuate. So John Cena. I tell you, he's got a great body now. It's Drew McIntyre.
He does.
He looks amazing. He just looks he's got himself really, really good. Training with Athlete X, Jeff Cavaliers helped him out a lot. That's a plug there for Athlete X, because that's a great YouTube channel. Got other bodies. I mean, if you want to talk about my favorite bodies, obviously let's go to the women.
Oh,
we can talk about
women. We can talk about them later.
In terms of muscle, McIntyre, Cena. I mean, okay, look, Scott Steiner was unbelievably impressive, but that guy was a roid head. He's genetic freak as well.
Yeah, that was his nickname. Yeah.
I mean, Lesnar, in terms of like just pure impressiveness, just a monster. But I mean, not in terms of like chiseled 6-pack. So I mean, with all the kind of 6-pack stuff, just trying to think, because there was, it depends on kind of what in terms of like bulk. I mean, Triple H, to be fair,
he used to be. Oh my god! Especially when he came back from surgery. One of them, I think the knee surgery. Oh my goodness, he was freaking. He was.
So he would have been on steroids, because he would have taken steroids to get better quicker.
Yeah.
Prescribed. So he was huge, but he was definitely on roids. He has done roids. You can tell Triple H has done roids.
Yeah.
But poor guy, he's had to retire, isn't he?
Yeah.
He's had to retire because he's got a defibrillator on his heart now. He had a kind of like a heart attack kind of thing. So he literally now he can't wrestle ever again. Which sucks.
Edge looks pretty good now.
He's never had a good body, and he looks good now. He looks better. He looks all right now. Yeah. Finn Balor's got a great. I mean,
Finn Balor. I wrote him down here. Finn Balor is like one of my. He's like has like one of the favorite bodies right now.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of like someone like realistic, like a normal.
Yes, realistic, achievable.
Yeah, he's no Zac Efron in Baywatch though. Bloody hell, that isn't. I've never seen anything quite like that.
Who's that?
Zac Efron in Baywatch, in the Baywatch film. He was ripped. I mean, he must have been like 3% body fat. It was incredible. I can never. He probably
was training with The Rock.
Probably, yeah. Oh, The Rock. The Rock's another one, man. But he cheated. He's got pec implants.
What? Does he?
Yes, he had implants in 1998.
Oh man, I didn't even know that.
Yeah, because he was getting the saggy Samoan thing. So he had pec implants. Yeah, that's why he wore in 98, early 1990, he had that black, almost like tracksuit thing on, because it was covering his scars and his.
I didn't know. Oh, now he got the tattoo.
And he's got a tattoo around as well, which helps. But he has got tiny little scars. Just that man's got titty implants.
Oh man! I also like Lex Luger.
Oh yeah, he had a definitely very impressive physique.
He was always one of him and you know who else? Hardcore Holly.
Yeah, man, solid. But he was a gym freak. Absolutely.
Yeah.
He was just non-stop. He'd get up at 3 a.m. and he'd like apparently he sets his alarm every 3 hours and he eats no matter what time of night.
No matter what.
With protein, and so he was just non-stop. He was very.
You think a lot of his was natural then?
Yeah, I think Holly was more of a natural guy. He probably has done something, but he's always been. I mean, Holly had a good physique before when steroids were a big deal, and then after. So I think hard to tell, maybe. But I mean, Billy Gunn today looks amazing, but he is on steroids because he's admitted to it. He's not shy about it.
I seen him like last year before last in the airport. He was still huge. I was like, man,
massive guy.
I
was going to show you this before we go. So look, this is us at WrestleMania Night 1, and my wife is the bald one.
Oh yeah, I've seen that picture.
You've seen that for the folks.
Yeah, I seen it on your Facebook.
Yeah, that's me. Obviously, it's Brett.
Yeah,
you got my wife is Stone Cold and our friends as well. So, yeah, man, that was great. I mean, look, once again, it's so go on, quick, give me your top 5. You said Luger.
Oh man, for the bodies, I put down Luger, Finn Balor, Lex Luger, of course, Ravishing Rick Rude. He's probably would be my top. His freaking abs was
insane.
Stellar. Yeah. Probably those 3, and then probably Hardcore Holly is probably up there as far as the bodies. Yeah. I gotta get one more.
We got Warrior to some degree. Ultimate Warrior.
Oh, Ultimate Warrior. Yes, definitely Ultimate Warrior. Booker T had a nice body. Booker T had a nice body back in WCW. He was really shredded back.
He had a champion's physique, man. He had that 6'4", 6'5". He just looked like he belonged with the big boys,
Exactly.
He was athletic, and he should have. I mean, he obviously was a world champ, but he should. I think he
5 times.
But that was WCW. So he's had it a couple of times since.
Yeah.
In WWE, but
he was the last one to have it. Remember, he was the last one to have the belt.
Yeah, he won it off Steiner.
Yep, him beat Steiner. Yep.
There you go. See,
you remember who was the first Universal? Remember who was the first? Not Universal. When they had the 2 champions in WWE.
Jericho.
Yeah.
Vengeance 2001.
Unified. Yeah, when he first came in, that was great, man.
And then now they've unified the titles. Well, the Universal with Brock and Roman, and Roman's now carrying both. I mean, it depends what they're going to do with them. But to segue off wrestling, because I didn't see it. Did you watch the Tyson Fury fight last night? Because I heard that was really good. He knocked him out in the 6th against Dante Wilder.
No, I didn't watch it.
Yeah, I heard it's pretty good. So, but apparently they're talking about Tyson Fury wrestling because they're doing this big pay-per-view in the UK in September at Stadium. And Drew McIntyre wants to fight Tyson Fury. So
I don't know if he really wants to do that.
Well, he did. He's already done it. He did it in Saudi Arabia. Yeah, he fought Braun Strowman. You got to check it out, man. Check out Tyson Fury versus Braun Strowman, and then drop me a message when you've seen it.
All right, I like Braun too. He's probably he has probably been my favorite big guy, but I know he's not around anymore. But
yeah, I just find his promo style a little bit. He's good. He is good, and I think it's sad he went. But yeah, there was something about him. Something I thought was missing a little bit. Promo, a bit too. I'm a giant promo.
Yeah, absolutely.
A bit lacking. But he's still great. I don't know why they got rid of him and the Fiend too.
Yes.
Why do they do that? So
who knows? I'd be watching some backstories on WWE.
Yeah, I was gonna say, for all you people who don't like wrestling, we've just last 10 minutes. We just probably
it is what it is, man. Hey, everything comes back to fitness. We were talking about bodies, fitness bodies.
We were talking about bodies, and it is amazing. I mean, the athletics of them now is like, they are next level athletes.
And the last body. I got an alibi. Give me an alibi. Here's my alibi. Eddie Guerrero after he had surgery.
You mean Eddie Guerrero after he did steroids?
remember he did the frog splash and like busted his elbow or shoulder or something? Yeah, when he came back. And he did a big old he had them big old traps up there.
Yeah. But I found his chest. I'm the opposite. My chest is bigger and my arms are proportionately not quite. I find my chest is almost too big for my arms. But Eddie Guerrero, I feel like his arms are so big, but his chest was quite small.
Yeah. And then he was really cut like a V too. He was like really V'd up. You know
Yeah,
what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah,
Then he was
yeah,
kind of small. He probably skipped a lot of leg days and
yeah.
stuff
I think
like
that's the
that.
one I
But
probably disagree
yeah,
with you on in terms of look. I
yeah,
mean, it just
yeah,
because obviously, and once again, it is
yeah,
steroids, so it's
yeah,
because
yeah.
he was
I
smaller before. But
I
they
think
yeah,
because it
he
was
got
his traps. I think his traps and his
huge, yeah.
back was
Traps
what I
and
really
arms.
liked
Those
about it.
veins running down his arms.
Yeah, yeah,
The
Latino
veins
heat.
running down his arms are bigger than my arms.
Yeah.
So
Still
yeah.
can't forget Batista and back in the day, Batista.
Oh mate, Batista was when he first came. Jeez, that guy. Yeah, he had like wiggly, like little worm veins like down his
Yes,
arms like
those
that.
veins.
Yeah,
Yeah,
quite disgusting, really. If you
yeah.
think about it.
Hey,
Yeah,
so look, at the end of the day, look, everything comes back to fitness,
exactly.
consistency. All the look, those guys had to remain consistent for a long time in order to get to their level. You know what I mean? So
Everything exactly, and this is the thing, and it all comes down to consistency. This is why we're doing this podcast. So anyone
absolutely,
else that's out there tonight, whether you're watching this tonight or you watch it, so anyone in terms of consistency, tonight it's dinner time in the UK. It's early where you are. Think about your next meal and think, how am I going to make my next meal that little bit healthier? Start there and go from there.
I like it. And until next time, Nick, first of all, man, appreciate you being here, man. Looking forward
Absolute
to
pleasure,
next
man.
time we getting together.
Yeah.
Looking forward to the next book.
Hell yeah.
And until next time, stay consistent, stay fit 365 days a year. We are out.